fighting Falcon bears an unusual distinction. It is one of the only top jet fighters in the world to also be cost-efficient. Fast and extremely agile, the light fighter does have some shortcomings in range and payload compared to larger twin-engine fighters like the F-15 Eagle. This favorable bang-for-buck ratio has not been lost on air forces across the world. The F-16 currently remains the most popular aircraft in modern military service. Out of 4,500 produced, nearly 2,700 currently remain in service in around 26 countries. Needless to say, the cutting-edge, fourth-generation fighter of the 1980s will remain with us for a good while longer. The F-16 was born out of the conundrum experienced by the Air Force in the Vietnam War. Fast and heavy F-4 Phantom fighters had underperformed against the North Vietnamese Air Force due to their immature long-range missile technology and lack of aptitude for tight maneuvering in dogfights. This led a faction known as the Fighter Mafia to argue that the Air Force had its design priorities all wrong, and that what was really needed was a relatively cheap, lightweight airframe that maximized energy for short-range dogfights. The single-engine F-16 leveraged new design technologies to maximize kinematic performance. A powerful Pratt & Whitney's F-100 engine with the intake slung under the fuselage could generate an excellent thrust-to-weight ratio due to the overall lightness of the Falcon, propelling the F-16 to twice the speed of sound at high altitude. Pronounced strakes bulged out like the hood of a cobra from the fuselage to support the cropped delta wings, enabling very high roll rates. A bulging bubble canopy offered an excellent field of view for the pilot, who was lounged in a seat angled 30 degrees back so as to mitigate the G-forces from violent maneuvers. And the F-16 could pull off very violent maneuvers indeed, becoming the first jet fighter able to pull 9 Gs in a turn, tighter than any other U.S. fighter until the advent of the F-22 Raptor. In fact, to maximize its maneuverability, the F-16 was intentionally designed to be aerodynamically unstable, a deficit which its flight control system automatically compensated for. This worked thanks to the F-16's then revolutionary fly-by-wire control scheme, which basically meant that the pilot's controls were interpreted via an electronic interface instead of via hydraulic or cable-connected manual controls. Not only were fly-by-wire controls more reliable, but they made it possible for the flight computer to correct the pilot's maneuvers as necessary to avoid exceeding the Falcon's tolerances. Another feature was an integrated throttle in the joystick, known as hands-on throttle and stick, or HOTAS, enabling much smoother operation by the pilot. Fly-by-wire and HOTAS have since become standard features in modern combat aircraft. The F-16 was designed as a multi-role fighter, and it could lug up to 17,000 pounds of munitions or electronic warfare gear on its 11 hardpoints, including a new generation of precision-guided weapons such as Maverick missiles and laser-guided bombs. A 20mm Vulcan cannon in the lower fuselage served as a backup weapon. Ironically, while the fighter mafia had little faith in guided missile technology, the F-16 arrived just when such weapons attained a new level of efficiency. And the Falcon's APG-66 Doppler radar, heads-up display, and targeting computers were able to leverage these weapons to deadly effect. This was demonstrated in June 1982 when F-15s and F-16As engaged in a massive 3-day air battle over the Bekaa Valley against Syrian jet fighters. The F-16 Falcons downed 44 Syrian MiG-21s and MiG-23s without suffering a single loss.
Here they go. There goes one.
Bud Clover, delete altitude restriction.
That copies delete the altitude restriction. Nobody home at the Eagle will just be dry on the range though.
Yeah, we told them you were coming. We didn't know if you wanted anybody in the tower.